Hi, Emily here from Emily's Visions. I have the guinea pigs out today. I'm a bit tired and nervous today because of social problems that have been happening for me, mainly due to me being aware of my limitations but other people not really being able to understand them. So today I wanted to talk about the idea of staying positive versus resolution, which I think is an interesting topic and very relevant to all of us. But my personal journey has been quite hard because as someone with brain damage, I have different needs and they're hard to establish. Even my neurologist, when I was going to my neurologist, he was an expert with working with the medicines, and when they didn't work for me, he just kind of threw up his hands and said, well, he said, we have many. We probably have about 14 different types that you could take. So you could try those, but you have difficult to treat epilepsy. So each one of them, you need to crank up the doses till they're very high and you have side effects, and then if they're not right, you have to crank them down slowly to try and then to make space for the new one. So he said it was up to me basically, and I decided that it wasn't really worth going through all of that thing, which takes a lot of energy to process, just to seek out this normal person that I could be if I had drugs that control my seizures. And my seizures, some of them are quite subtle, so sometimes I have a seizure and actually people who don't know me probably won't realise that I am actually having a seizure. So then they're like, well, you know, just go with the flow and adapt in the way that we expect you to. But of course I won't be able to because I'm having a seizure. So that's a difficult one. In this world, I've found that people in general, they love the idea of staying positive. You know, if they've thought about personal development at all, or not just sort of, you know, living a simple life where you do your work and sometimes you lash out, but, you know, that's understandable. Sometimes you feel sad, but that's understandable. It's all like things that everyone has bad days. If people do focus on positivity at all, they tend to approach it from an extreme direction. That's my experience. So whilst I'm trying to remain positive, they tell me that I should be positive about my epilepsy and what I have in my life and my restrictions, and just stay positive. Very often I find that contradicts any opportunity I have of resolution, because if we stay positive in a generic way, when do we become ourselves? When do we look at the things that upset us? Because we do need to look at those things, and my experience has been that very often we find ourselves surrounded by society where everybody's busy, nobody wants anyone to rock the boat, so they say, smile, stay positive, what's good about today? And in theory, that sounds like a solution, and it may well be a temporary solution, but it's not a resolution. And I'm keen on finding resolutions for my problems. That takes work. And it takes effort, and it takes sometimes being a little bit sad, because you have to be realistic about what restricts you. If you are not fit enough to climb a mountain, you should prepare yourself to climb a mountain before you go climb a mountain. And you're not going to be able to get to the top of the mountain by staying positive if you're not fit enough. So my experience is that it's important for me to assert myself, and it's important for me to take the time to think about what upsets me, what makes my seizures worse, and that includes socially, and also finding a balance, because obviously one thing I could do is I could avoid relating to people because they don't understand, so I could just hide away in my house and maybe search for friends on the internet, and never really communicate face to face with people, just in case there's someone who might have a moment of not understanding. And when I'm feeling so hard, when something's feeling difficult for me, they say, stay positive. So one thing I had recently was that I needed my space, and I was in a social situation and I needed my space, and I didn't have my carer with me. If I have my carer with me, he can explain, or she, if I've got a female carer with me, they can explain, oh, she's in a strange state right now, she can't cope with what's going on. I didn't have my carer with me, but I have learned to be assertive at a certain point. Every time I assert myself, it becomes a little bit easier every single time. So I asserted myself and I said, no, I can't do this. And the response I got was angry response. And I've had this many times over. People are angry that I'm not able to just do what would be the status quo. But I've concluded really that it's not my job to make everyone happy, and it's not my job to satisfy people who are confused about what I can deal with. So rather than avoid difficult situations, and rather than avoiding standing up for myself by remaining positive and being kind to everybody around me and making that my focus, I've decided to be ready to assert myself and say, hey, I'm a human that's this shape. I'm a human that has these problems, and they need to be taken into consideration. I feel that that's important, even if people might get upset, but so long as I'm not attacking anybody directly, then I think it's fine, because actually we can just walk away too. We can say, I'm not involved with this and I'm going to take my own space because that's what I need right now. It's not always easy, and I'm learning, but that's what I wanted to talk about today. The difference between living a positive, happy life when you're ignoring problems that are around you, and actually addressing things in a way that's not violent and not offensive, but just protects me in my circle from where I am, because I have a right to be who I am, so long as I'm not hurting anyone. And people might complain about that, but I'm deciding not to worry about it. So long as I don't attack them directly, I think that people should be able to take on the fact that I have restrictions, and that everybody does, and that we can't expect everybody to react the way we think would have been best in that situation. I mean, hell, nobody else. I don't know anyone who always acts perfectly, so I can't think of anybody who would confess to always acting perfectly and making the right decision at the right time. So that means that we have a right to be messy, especially if we've had a knock on the head. So that's my ramble for today. Feel free to subscribe. I'm going to keep trying to do this once a week, or post something like my video last week. And also, if you want to make any comments below, you can do. I will do my best, seizure willing, to answer any questions you have, and we can have a bit of a discussion about what it means to assert ourselves, and what it means to find out truly what it means to be our positive selves, because they may well be hidden under a thick layer of shoulds and shouldn'ts, and not wanting to offend anyone. But everybody wants to see someone taking a step out, really, and becoming more fully themselves. I think inside themselves, that's what they want. So I'm going to continue with that. Nice to talk to you. I'll see you soon. Bye.